Good evening, explorers, and welcome to the range, where we're going to be breaking down various weapons, tools, and mechanics of the game's sandbox. Today, we're going to be looking at the game's wearable armor and gas mask. Like weapons technology, armor technology has evolutionized over the course of recorded human history, starting with basic plate and chainmail armor all the way up to modern materials like ceramics and Kevlar. Prior to the invention of firearms, armor was almost solely made for the purpose of warding off attacks by melee weapons. Swords, sabers, clubs, maces, axes, you name it. There are many different types of armor prior to gunpowder and were often tied to specific cultures. However, after the widespread adoption of firearms, they became nearly useless and quickly fell off in relevance. It actually wasn't until recently with the advent of modern materials that body armor had a resurgence in popularity, now being used by military and law enforcement all over the world. Moving on to the game, however, armor is, thank God, a pretty straightforward affair. It gives you a flat damage reduction regardless of where you get hit or what hits you, with the exception of anomalies and fall damage. This information is actually displayed on your watch. That number there is your current damage reduction percentage. If it says 40, you will take 40% less damage. Bear in mind that these values will decrease as your armor degrades in durability, so it's best practice to upkeep after every excursion. The same thing applies to your gas mask. Moving on to the items themselves, first up is the Army Bulletproof Vest. This seems to be based off of the Russian 6B45 Ratnik body armor system. It was part of the larger Ratnik program, which sought to upgrade Russian soldiers with modern protection, comms, and weapons around 2013. The vest itself, the 6B45, is lined with Kevlar and inserted with granite ceramic plates, which are rated at a protection class of 6 or up to 762 by 54R, the round the Mosin uses. This armor is still in service to this day. Moving on to the game, it has a weight of 2 kilograms, a cost of 4,000, and is unlocked at security level 3. So, quick pause for a moment. 2 kilograms? That's the weight of the 6B45 without plates. With plates, it's supposed to be around 7.5 kilograms. These fuckers are making you pay for a vest without plates. I mean, it's still got Kevlar in it, I guess, but still. It has a damage reduction of 40% at max durability and is effective against all entities and the reflector anomaly. Bear in mind though, that bigger hits will degrade the vest faster, and thus its effectiveness faster. Honestly, unless you're really trying to scrunch on money or weights, I would highly recommend picking this up as soon as possible. 40% is a massive reduction. Next up is the SSH-40. It was designed and produced by the Soviet Union in 1940 and served throughout the Second World War. These helmets were made out of steel and really only served as shrapnel protection. It was produced and in service all the way up to 1960, when it was replaced by the SSH-60. I personally find the choice to include this helmet in the game rather strange. I would think perhaps the SSH-68 would be a better fit for the period of the game. I mean, I guess they kind of look the same, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Anyway. In-game, it has a weight of 0.4 kilograms, a cost of 1,200, and is unlocked at security level 3. It has a damage reduction of 15% at max durability, and like the vest, is effective against entities and the reflector anomaly. The helmet also has a side effect of obscuring the top of your vision. It really isn't a big deal to me personally. If anything, I kinda like it, but if you don't, there's a few mods to get rid of it. Unless you're on Quest, of course. Finally is the GP5 gas mask. The GP5 is a Soviet design and was produced from 1961 to 1989. It has a single filter design, wraps around most of the head, and is the single most produced gas mask in the world. Hell, even today you can get these from between 20 to 40 bucks. The filters were said to be good for NBC protection for 24 hours. However, the older filters used to contain asbestos, making them hazardous to use, especially if damaged or defective. In-game, it has a weight of 0.2 kilograms, a cost of 1,200, and is unlocked at security level 2. It has a 15% damage reduction against anomalies, except for the Stomper and Reflector anomaly, at max durability. It also grants complete immunity to the gas or haze anomaly. Like the armor, your watch will tell you exactly how much protection you currently have, depending on the mask condition. It is primarily useful for artifact hunting. One major downside, however, is that it is very obstructive to your vision. Again, something that can be changed with mods if you want. Overall, I would say keep one on you at all times. It's cheap, light, and useful. So, since I'm currently doing a Stalker mod run, I figured I'd throw this in there as a bonus entry. This is the K63. The K63 is the commercially available version of the Alton helmet designed in the early 90s. The only major difference between the lack of the Alton's original radio along with some other minor differences. It's of a titanium construction and comes with a face visor. It has a Class 2 protection rating under the Russian GOST armor standard, meaning it's really only good against pistol caliber rounds. In-game, or in the mod I should say, it has a weight of 3.8 kilograms, a cost of 8,000, and is not affected by security level. It provides a 35% damage reduction at max durability. Combined with the vest, which is reduced to 30% in the mod, you can achieve a damage reduction of 65%, 10 more than the vanilla game. This comes with a major drawback though, as it heavily restricts vision. Not only does it narrow POV, but the glass is also filthy, making it hard to see through. Also, this completely replaces the SSH-40, so unfortunately you can't pick and choose. Overall, I wish a more refined version of this with a flippable visor was in the game. I know I might be slightly biased, but I think it would fit the setting really well. Also, you can get this as a standalone mod, but it only replaces the SSH-40 without changing its stats. So at that point, you're really only using it for style or immersion. And that covers the in-game protection. There's not a whole lot to say. It's all very useful for keeping you alive out in the zone. This video took a lot longer than it should have, mostly because I was somewhat discouraged by the topic. For some reason I thought the armor mechanics were a lot more complicated than they were. Then I started to test everything, and yeah, it's stupid simple. With this out of the way though, we are finally getting close to finishing out the range series. There's not many items left to cover, and once I'm done, we will move on to what's inside the zone itself. Next up is consumables or tools, one of those two. Until next time, explorers.